Please note there will be some spoilers discussed for this audio. If you haven't already, then please go and listen to it before you watch this review. Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be reviewing another Big Finish audio. It will be another recent release in the Lost Stories range called Deathworld. This was the original version of the 10th anniversary story The Three Doctors, but it had to be extensively rewritten due to concerns the production team had for the story, as well as actor availability issues. And having now listened to this, I think it's safe to say that the story would have been completely unfeasible at the time. Not only would William Hartnell not be able to do much due to his ill health, or Fraser Hines wouldn't be able to return as Jamie due to his busy Emmerdale schedule, but the storyline is just way too dark for the show as it was in the Jon Pertwee era. I could imagine that the BBC would have got a lot of complaints from parents who thought it was completely unsuitable for their children to watch. But none of this means that I didn't enjoy the story. In fact, I really liked it. Its dark and macabre plot details translated really well to audio, and we let my imagination run wild trying to visualise the scenes in my head. Whilst the story might have been a bit too expensive to produce on the show's limited budget at the time, as an audio it all works really well. All the cast gave really good performances. It did feel a bit strange having all of the Doctors in a multi-Doctor story not be played by their original actors, as you could kind of tell that different people were playing them. But I don't mean that in a bad way, and Stephen Noonan, Michael Troughton and Tim Treloar all did a great job of capturing the essences of each of their Doctors. If anything, it felt like they were adding onto the original portrayals in a very respectful manner. I felt like Joe Shire did a superb job of playing Death, the main villain of the story. He played it with such effortless menace and darkness, and his voice was suitably very grandiose and almost oozed with sinisterness. He also did a great job of playing the other three horsemen of the apocalypse: war, famine and pestilence. Speaking of which, I liked how the story really leaned in on stuff that we all probably know about from what I would call classical pop culture. So the likes of ancient Greek myths and legends with the Cyclops and the Gorgon, aka Medusa, and more Christian biblical concepts such as the four horsemen of the apocalypse, the seven deadly sins, and the personification of death itself. I must say the story's imagery was so graphic. From Death and the Time Lord President playing chess, with the pieces being the Doctors, their companions and adversaries, to the different soldiers, plague victims and starving people from all walks of history. Everything was just so immersive, in such a dark and chilling way. I loved the usual multi-Doctor bickering, and how Joe theorised that it was because the Doctor's past selves reminded him of his mortality that made the third Doctor so argumentative towards the first and second especially. It really makes you look at those interactions in a whole new way. I also liked the little touches of continuity dotted throughout this audio. The third Doctor seemed to be so quietly happy to see Jamie again, as obviously he knows what will happen to him, and he's clearly very deeply upset about it. And it was nice to get little details like the first Doctor saying that he'd just let Stephen go outside for a bit, and that the second Doctor and Jamie were on their way back to Victoria, after the events of the two Doctors. And on a similar note, I felt like this audio has a good way of tying into the version of the three Doctors we ended up getting. Death explains that the three Doctors, Joe and the Brigadier, will go through similar events again very shortly, but with a few key differences. I wasn't really expecting the audio to do this, so it made for a very nice surprise, and I'm not left wondering how on earth this could fit in with what happens in our version of the Three Doctors. I know that I've already said that all the cast did really well, but I wanted to touch a bit more on Katie Manning, Fraser Hines and John Coleshaw as Joe, Jamie and the Brigadier respectively. I liked how they were all given a fair chunk to do, with Joe saving the second Doctor by politely talking to the Hindu goddess Kali and getting her to release him, and the Brig being paired up with the first Doctor for a while made for such a delightfully chaotic and argumentative pairing. I think the only slight nitpick I have with this audio is that I found it a bit strange how long it took the third Doctor to realise that Deathworld is a realm that is outside the usual rules of causality. I mean, he and the second explains this to their friends earlier on, and yet it still takes ages for Free to realise that means that he isn't on borrowed time as such, after his first and second selves are killed. But yeah, I really am clutching at straws trying to think of anything even slightly negative about this release. So I think that says a lot of just how great of an experience I had in listening to it. I'm sure Big Finish made some changes to make the story work better for audio, but I think that they did a great job of adapting this overall. And whilst it definitely wouldn't have been possible for it to be made for the TV show at the time, I could imagine this maybe being made as something for BBC Radio in 1973. I mean, it's still a bit of a stretch, but you know what I mean. It has that horrific gloominess to it, and the sheer scale of everything that happens works so much better on audio than it ever could on TV. So yeah, I'm going to have to give this audio a rating of 10 out of 10. Big Finish really seem to know what they're doing with the Lost Stories at the minute, after the disappointment last year that fans had with Daleks Genesis of Terror. Deathworld may not have worked for TV, but it sure as hell works for this audio, and everyone involved has done such an incredible job with it. I honestly can't recommend it enough, especially if you like darker Doctor Who stories. But anyway, so there's my review of Deathworld. But what did you think? Did you enjoy this audio or not? And do you agree with my thoughts? Please let me know in the comments section below, and I promise that the next Big Finish review will definitely be goth opera. Anyway, so thanks for watching, I hope you liked it. Please don't forget to press that subscribe button below, as well as press the bell icon at the side of it, so that you'll stay notified of when all my new videos come out. This channel currently has 2,341 subscribers as of time of writing and recording this video, but if we can get to 2,500 by the end of this year, then I will do a Q&A, where you can ask me whatever questions you want. Just keep them polite, please. Also, please rate and comment below your thoughts on all of this, and please feel free to donate to my Ko-fi page, link in the description, or send me a YouTube super thanks below if you want to, of course. And you can also now join my Discord server, where we talk about all kinds of stuff from what if scenarios to Doctor Who and just whatever you want, really. You can join the server by clicking on the link in a pinned comment below, and I shall see you all in another video. So until next time, bye bye!